All right, I am Tristan,
And I'm Chaz.
and we are going to talk about altitude and the human body.
All right, I found an article titled High Altitude Training Fact versus Fiction. It just has some questions. Training at altitude is beneficial because the air is thinner. The answer is fiction. Whether at sea level or at 10,000 feet, the percent of oxygen in the air is the same at 29%. Your body only takes in about 10% of that. The challenge is your ability at altitude to extract oxygen and get it into your bloodstream. And it's easier to do that at lower sea or lower elevation because the barometric pressure forces air into the lungs. Next question was training at altitude will make me more fit. The answer is fact. Training at altitude improves maximal oxygen uptake, increases lactate threshold, improves power output, and you get better sleep. Benefits are a result of red blood cell production caused by the adaptation to low barometric pressure. Third question is training with a mask simulates training at altitude. The answer is fiction. Benefits of altitude training are not found from areas that lack oxygen, but from areas of lower barometric pressure. Training with reduced oxygen can cause hyperventilation, disorientation, rapid heartbeat, elevated blood pressure, and loss of consciousness. Last question was if I train at altitude, then race at sea level, I'll see better performance. The answer is fact. You should see better time, strength, and recovery if you train at altitude and then perform at sea level. And this is due to the fact that you have more red blood cells built up from training at higher altitude.
All right, I want to talk about a study. It's called Is Normal Baric Hypoxia an Effective Treatment for Sustaining Previously Acquired Acclimatization? It's by Beetleman and many other researchers. Just real quick, just to explain what normal baric hypoxia treatment is, it's these giant chambers that you see on the right here are used to simulate different altitudes. So they are capable of simulating both sea level altitude atmospheres, and also some of them are capable of going all the way up to Mount Everest. And so the idea is that you just put someone in here and it'll simulate the altitude. And it's important to know how these work because more of them have been showing up, and we want to be able to make sure that we can use them effectively and safely for everyone. The design of the study had 16 individuals. The first phase was 4 days at sea level. They spent the 4 days just going over what the entire rest of the study would consist of, and they got baseline pressure or baseline tests for everybody. And then the next phase was 12 days at altitude at Pikes Peak in Colorado at 4,300 meters. Here they just got acclimated. They had some hikes that they led everybody on, and they let everybody know that that well, they got more tests done so that they could compare later on. And then 12 days return to sea level was administered, or then the hypoxia treatment was administered, and they split the group into two groups of eight. So 8 people got the treatment, 8 people did not. And then for the last part, they did 24 hours exposure back to altitude. And this was just to see how if they were going to react the same way as when they did when they first went to altitude. And normal baric hypoxia treatment is ineffective in sustaining the gains that occur in our body experiences when exposed to altitude. So these chambers were not effective in helping anybody keep their gains from the altitudes. And we're just going to go over some questions now. What is normal baric hypoxia treatment?
Do elevation training masks have major benefits like altitude? And what are some benefits that we can see at altitude?
And here's our citations.